Welcome to the Snipecast, episode 2. Complete with our old friend, the migrant peregrine. I'm not sure where he's migrated from, but more on that later. I think I've probably got mixed views on hunting with a wild tassel in a cast. I think there are pros and cons to it. Certainly very interesting. You get some nice flights, double flights if you like. See some amazing stoops and chases. You could argue that the sporting balance is tipped too far one way. This is certainly an example of that. This is a snipe that normally would have got away if it was just me and my tassel. It obviously is either too cowardly or too clever. Doesn't want to fly under a very deadly pair of tassels that they're both very high today, but obviously it didn't want to fly under them, and it dumps. Normally it would just escape my tassel who tries to grab it on the ground, and it would outfly him, but they're very difficult to outfly that other thing that's high above, providing air support. And I don't really capture it that well on camera here because I'm early season. I'm still remembering how to use the kit, but they do a yin and yang on it here. My tassel put it out of reed beds a couple of times until he ends up catching it in a reed bed. And it is early season. Any snipe kill is never bad on morale. Put some lead in the pencil, so to speak, but certainly don't want to catch many in reed beds on the puttings. And it makes a lazy tassel as well, because he's waiting for the wild tassel to basically do the hard graft, and he'll catch them on the ground. Far better to be just my tassel against the snipe. He'll either catch them on the first joust or not at all. Trained tassels hardly ever catch them in chases, but with a wild tassel he can. So my experience of casts, whatever they are, merlins, peregrines, there's always one bird that's doing a lot less than the other one. But this was still a nice day to be out. Lovely conditions, high cloud, lovely breeze coming off the sea. Nice healthy snipe. I weighed it just to see what kind of condition it was in. Normally a snipe in good fit fat condition is about 116, 118 grams, so nothing wrong with it. And we still took its pin feathers as a reward. So 2 days later we went out in what seemingly were lovely conditions, although it was a bit warm, and that didn't help what was to materialise. Just one of those days where everything was slightly out. The tassel, it was quite warm. We were in a bog with very sticky snipe, and it is a genuine bog, this. And the dog always struggles with the scent for whatever reason. Maybe it's the water. The tassel was maybe had too much pigeon from the kill. Was just floating about in the lovely conditions. And as you'll see in a minute, when we eventually flushed the snipe, virtually refused 3 or 4 snipe in total. Just kind of escorted them out the area. Very nice of him. But no, bit of a frustrating day really, but early season I probably fed him too much 2 days ago. I like to fly every other day and give him a lot to eat, and then nothing for 2 days, and flied him in high condition, which I think you have to do in snipe. We'll discuss that at another time, but yeah, he just very half-heartedly flew this one out the area. You learn something on every bad day even, and I learned what his kind of upper weight would be, or certainly not to give him too much pigeon when it's 20 degrees. That's another one which he followed out the area, and then went for the inevitable bath. As you can see here, that's one of his habits that I've just got to live with, unfortunately. What he does do, he never goes and sits on a rock after a bath. He generally goes and waits on again, sopping wet rag, which makes it even less likely to catch a snipe.
It's tragic, really. I can't get the hawk down, can't find anything to flush under it. So it's had a bath, or he's had a bath, so it'll be drying off up there anyway. But it's pretty tedious, really. I hope the dog doesn't find a snipe, doesn't deserve one.
The dog does actually find another snipe here, but it's a wriggly running thing that she eventually busts. And the tassel was in a decent position, but again, just gave it a half effort. Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, just one of those days when you could wish you could just delete it from the records, but fortunately I recorded it. So yeah. He's quite an obedient little hawk, always comes back in the end to a lure, and what did I do? Fed him more pigeon.
Far more than you deserve, or I should give you, but what the hell, you're not going to be flying for a few days. That was the original reward. Fresh air surprise, I should have stuck with that. Yeah, I'm embarrassed for you too.
So a couple of days later we're back out, and this is far more like it. Much chillier, much cooler, high cloud, nice southwesterly wind. So I went to do a nice little bog that actually faces southwest. We'll do it 5 or 6 times a season. It's usually got half a dozen snipe in it. And right from the off, as you can usually tell, that when your talk means business, the Tearsel meant business. Yeah, we got 2 nice flights, 2 nice honest snipe, and no wild Tearsel. It's a bit odd, really. This is right in the middle of his territory, but anyway, I wasn't complaining this day because it was just my Tearsel against the snipe, and we got a couple of belters, including quite rare subspecies of snipe called the lesser downwind flushing snipe. Shouldn't really try and kill those types because it'd be nice if we went and multiplied. It's about 99% of them are the upwind rocket variety. But anyway, his first one was a bit near the fence, but it's a very visible fence. I've flown here dozens of times before, not had an issue with it. It's probably best to be right up against the fence rather than a bit further away from it, but anyway. Hawk was nicely upwind, and gave his snipe quite a bit a scare. Wasn't that high, but high enough. Good honest joust, and that is that. Snipe flies off, and Tearsel comes back for another go. He really was close to this. You don't get it on video, but he almost touched it. But yeah, so close but so far, as is the case with snipe most of the time. So I thought even though it's early season, there would be at least one of us sniping this bog. So we scratched around a bit. And the hawk really was a totally different mood today. Just a drop in temperature and a few grams less, and he meant it. Bumped a couple of pipits as well in this, and kind of messed up a couple of pitches with him stooping them. He doesn't normally stoop them, to be honest, but he was in the mood today. I think one goes in a few seconds. He was up quite a nice pitch, and obviously loses it all. But when the wind's this good and the lift's this good, a paper bag would wait on nicely in this weather, and he's soon back up. I think there it goes. There was a snipe there. The dog was getting set. She never points pipits or larks generally, and never has. Well, I'll never say never, but it was quite an obliging snipe. It let me slowly back out of there and go upwind to kind of head the point, if you like. The other annoying habit of this Tearsel, apart from the regular baths at inopportune times, is he tries to predict the flush. I never know what makes hawks. Some falcons do this, and others, or most, don't. But this is one of those annoying individuals that does, and I don't know why, because it doesn't really seem to give them any advantage. Normally, when I'm getting close to the dog and I shout, "Get him up," he kind of comes a fair way down in his stoop. But worse than that, it kind of usually results in him taking a quick back cast downwind. And obviously when they're downwind of the point on snipe or grouse, they're at a huge positional disadvantage. And quite often with grouse, and I'm finding out as often with snipe, that they'll choose that moment to go. I say this was quite an obliging snipe, we actually get away with it, but you'll see in a minute he's downwind and way out of position. And even when they're at nice pitches, if the grouse or snipe go now and he's about 50 yards downwind of the point, they've got a little chance. A wild hawk could catch a sniper or grouse, but luckily the snipe stays still and the tassel comes back over the point. We get a nice flight. But it is annoying because it never results. I've never seen these hawks that try and predict the flushes. It never seems to result in anything positive, but they keep on doing it. But he's better on windy days because it tends to hold him up at higher pitches. And we get a nice flush here and a nice stoop. I was only using the iPhone, unfortunately, so I can't really see what happened, but I gave it a good old go. And that was that. Actually quite glad he didn't catch a snipe on this occasion because I needed to be somewhere. I only had half an hour, so we got in and got out and got a couple of nice stoops, and that was that. My kind of snipe hawking. So that's it for now, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Snipecast with hopefully some more flights, and inevitably we'll get some cast flights with the wild tassel.